Hey everyone, Julie B back with another video about just some behind the scenes of being a business ownership. I have realized that this is really my thinking time, and I'm going to keep it simple and just call it a vlog. Basically, I've missed a couple of weeks because I was overthinking it. And so we're just going to keep it simple going forward. So this is really just my thinking time and a vlog. So first off, I hope you find this helpful, and I would love to get some questions from you all to answer on here. That would be really great. But if you have questions, you can leave a comment. You can email me. You can find me on other social platforms. But I would love to answer your questions because I just love engaging with business owners and helping them however I can. So, anyways, this week's video, I wanted to talk about words, and I've probably brought up words in the past. I know I've talked about them recently, but I wanted to talk about my word of the year and just the power that words have in general. I've written a couple of blog posts and I have a couple of podcasts coming out about that soon, but my word of the year for this year is emerge, and I've talked a little bit about that in past videos, but I feel like I had basically been in a bunker for about 2.5 years, and this year I'm kind of coming out again for the second time. I'm emerging. I'm emerging as a writer, as a content creator, as a strategic business advisor, and I'll put the link to the blog post that tells you all about let me say that again, all about that in the description. But I really feel like that is the word for me for this year. So that's the word for me. I also pay attention to words. And a few weeks ago, I watched the college football national championship game. And right before the game, the head coach, Kirby Smart, said one word. And I knew from that moment that Georgia was just going to kill the other team, basically. And they did. When asked what he needed to see from his team, he said, aggression. And I wrote a blog post about that because it's when we are being leaders, when we are in our leadership role and we are delivering a leadership message, the value of clear, concise, and repeated messages and words cannot be understated. I can't even imagine how many times he said aggression in the month leading up to, or the week leading up to the national championship. Probably the whole season he was saying that word. And he was probably sick of saying it, but it was probably just starting to sink in for his team. And I think that's a really important point to remember, that just as leaders, as you're getting tired of saying things, people are probably hearing it for the first time, or it's really sinking in for the first time. And, you know, as a podcast host, as somebody who gets on here and tells you stories and shares just insights from around the business world, I certainly can ramble and go on tangents. And I often do that on here. This is really unedited, uncut. Like, you see the real me, you kind of see how my brain works. But there's a time for that. There's a time for brainstorming. There's a time for going on tangents. There's a time for daydreaming. There are times to just let ideas come out of your mouth and flow with your team. And then there are times when one or two words or a very concise sentence is what needs to be said over and over and over again. I am constantly trying to remember word economy. I am constantly trying to remember to be concise and clear. Sometimes it's not very easy for me to do that, especially if I haven't had enough time to think about it or rehearse whatever the message is. And then there are times when I am very clear. Like, our vision is to help 1 million business owners by 2032. That's pretty clear. It's one sentence. And that's something I repeat frequently to my team and to other people that are in our ecosystem because it's so important to me. Things like core values, clarity, confidence, growth, be an ally, and resilience. Those are all things that are one word, and I will often say them in meetings with my teams, or, you know, when it makes sense to bring that in. So again, there's times to brainstorm and go down rabbit holes and chase squirrels. There's a lot of time to just listen. I think that's the other part of being a leader. Sometimes you just need to listen. Oftentimes you just need to listen. And then there are those moments, those leadership message moments where you need to know exactly what you're saying and you need to repeat it. And that's usually around very specific goals or missions or topics. So I'm always kind of just fascinated by words. There was a time not long ago when the common idea was it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I agree, it's also how you say it. But I think we're coming back into a time where we're realizing what we say is really important. And that's something all leaders need to recognize. And I also think it's important, kind of on a tangent of that, what we say to ourselves is very important as well. What we tell ourselves as leaders and as business owners is really important. So those words that we tell ourselves and tell our teams are so important because they are listening to every single thing you say. So always keep that in mind when you are communicating with your people. And then the final thing I wanted to mention is I did a really interesting blog post where I kind of solicited some words of the year from people, from other business owners, and they really broke down into 3 categories: networking, business, and kind of just hope and excitement, which was really interesting. There were some that were very business focused, like resilience, and one was lab grown, which was a new one for me. I've never heard anybody use that as a word of the year, but I thought it was pretty cool based on how he was using it. So one person said magic, and if you know me, I believe in magic. I love magic. I think, call it luck, call it serendipity, call it magic, whatever it is. But sometimes we are really just in the right place at the right time. And I always cherish those moments. So anyways, I have a blog post about all 3 of those, and I'll put that in the link to in the description of this video. But I really wanted to, again, and I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but words are good. Words are important. And especially when you're delivering a leadership message, be as clear and concise as you can possibly be. So that's what I got this week. I'll probably have a few more videos coming out because I missed the past couple of weeks, but I'm not going to get too fancy with this. This is really just a daily vlog, or not daily, weekly vlog, if that, of stuff that's going on behind the scenes and things that I'm thinking about. So thanks again for giving me this time and space to share my thoughts with you. And again, I'd love to hear your comments. So let me know what you think, and we will be back. I will be back in another week or so. Thanks.